Hi, if you're watching the recording, like we said, I'm Sadie Palmer, Team Leader of Training and Education.
I'm Clayton Clemens. I'm with our Agent Resources team, and I head up our care initiative here.
Yes, and we are going over how to sell more cancer insurance using MedicareCENTER's scope of appointment. So, Clayton, shall we?
We shall.
We shall.
So, wanted to talk with you guys specifically about MedicareCENTER's scope of appointment for a multitude of reasons. I'm going to start off with, we're going to get more obvious and then kind of trickle down to more specifics.
Sure, love that.
So, it's super easy to use. If you're not already on MedicareCENTER, I highly suggest that you hop on there, maybe right now, set up a login to get set up with this, because it's going to make your life that much easier, because you're able to send a scope of appointment via email or have it be sent through a text message. So with that ability, MedicareCENTER stores that client's information in there. You build them a quick contact. We got tons of training on MedicareCENTER, so I won't go into too much detail there, but you can see who has sent you a scope of appointment back and who you still need one from. It's a nice, another layer of organization for you, especially for people who aren't in, don't already have another CRM that they're using. So it's a great place to have some notes, have that kind of information if it's on there, if it's sent, if you need to send one to them still, it'll kind of keep all that stuff up to date for you.
Yeah, that is a good point, I guess. Good thing to start out with. If you aren't familiar with MedicareCENTER, or if this doesn't quite make a little bit sense to you as far as like what MedicareCENTER is and stuff, this is a bit more of, I guess, 2.0, MedicareCENTER 2.0. So we do have MedicareCENTER webinars on our YouTube page. I'm sure that most of you are familiar with it, but just in case you aren't, stop watching this. You can watch the recording later and go check out the MedicareCENTER webinar on our YouTube page.
Maybe take some medicine first. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, depending on what you need. I'm going to turn a fan on because it is 5,000 degrees in here, but you go ahead.
Okay. So, Mary, I see your question. I'm going to get you in 2 seconds here because that's a really good point. But the generic scope of appointment that's tied to MedicareCENTER is another big selling point on using that. So some carriers, you know, might require their own scope of appointment. You might want to start looking at which scope of appointment you're using, and it might be branded for that carrier, and you want something a little bit more generic because you don't want them to think you're only pushing like a UHC or Humana. UHC is a bad example because they don't brand those very much. You get the point. But Sadie's over here laughing at me while she turns her fan on. So with the generic scope of appointment, it's very nice to send to a client. We've got that example here on, I don't know, a mirror wise, this side possibly, who knows. But this is a quick look at what the MedicareCENTER scope of appointment looks like. It's your everyday run-of-the-mill CMS approved SOA. So got angry at us.
I know.
I think it's fine now. We're good.
What a chaotic recording. We're off to a chaotic start.
So very simple, but what you'll notice here is we got our Medicare Part C, we got Part D, we got a Medigap policies, used to seeing all that stuff, right? What we're not used to seeing is this phrasing, ancillary products. Why is this important? Typically what you see on most scope appointments is maybe hospital indemnity.
It's a tough one.
Hibbity bibbity. Was that Liberty Bank? Anyway, you'll see hospital indemnity or dental plans on the scope of appointment, which are two great products to talk about. But as y'all know me, I'm super passionate about like, okay, well, why isn't cancer insurance on these?
Right.
This is just every bit of as important. It fits a lot of gaps that a Medicare Advantage plan leaves behind. Why are we focused on that? In some carriers, and in the Medicare world, cancer insurance can be considered a financial product because it's a lump sum of money.
Yeah.
But then you say, hey, Clayton, but isn't a hospital indemnity plan like, and you're right, and it doesn't make any sense. But here we are with a scope of appointment that's CMS approved that says ancillary products. And we've talked with our compliance officer here, Chalin, who we all know, love, trust with everything in all compliance, because that man has more information in his brain than I could ever find on Google.
For sure.
But we've also, you know, gotten with integrity and said, okay, so with this, it says ancillary products. can we add cancer insurance to the list that we're used to selling during a Medicare Advantage appointment? We've come to the consensus that if you're using this scope of appointment, keep pointing to this way because it's on this side, but if you're using this scope of appointment, you can sell a cancer product at the time of a Medicare Advantage appointment. So I got a really good question here earlier that was, I need a scope of appointment for a cancer plan. I thought that was only MAPD. So you don't need a scope of appointment to discuss a cancer plan. Why this is important is because it gives you an opportunity to discuss a cancer plan during a Medicare Advantage sale. Because a Medicare Advantage sale, if they don't check a hospital indemnity or dental on previous scopes, or on this Medicare Center one, if they don't check ancillary, you're limited to exactly what's on that scope that you can talk about that day.
Yep, that's the thing with scopes is once you sign them, before you sign them, you can talk about anything you want except Part C and D. After you sign the scope of appointment, which are of course required for those, once you've crossed that scope bridge, you can only talk about what is on that scope of appointment. You can't talk about anything else. So that's why they have things like the Medicare supplements, even though you don't have to have those to talk about, even though you don't have to have a scope in order to talk about it. They're just saying that's still good to talk about after you sign this.
That's a really good breakdown, and I love the scope of appointment bridge.
Yes.
You cross that. This is what we're doing now.
That's from good old Mike Gatorna.
The Gatorna.
Yeah, from back in the day, yeah.
But yeah, so like you're very limited on what you could talk about, which this opens up everything. So it opens up your dental, your hospital indemnity, and cancer insurance. So let's see here. So you can send the SOA on the phone app. Yes, I'll show you a little bit of what that would look like via email or text here in just a second. And then so we need this scope along with the MAPD scope.
So this still is an MAPD scope. You see right here, it has, hopefully you can see my little mouse here. It still has that Part D and the Part C and the Medicare supplements. The difference with this one, which we're taking a look at today, it's a normal CMS approved, but it has ancillary products here on the bottom, including cancer, because we consider those ancillary products. And yeah, so that's the difference. It's the exact same scope as any other CMS approved scope, but with this one, it's all ancillary products and not just limited to ones like hospital indemnity and dental, vision, and hearing, which most scope of appointments have.
Exactly. So this is why I love this one, because it opens the door to cancer insurance. Now, this is a great scope of appointment for all your general needs. Very easy to use, like I said, email, text. But the cancer insurance part was something that irritated me that it wasn't available during an MA sale, because there's a couple obvious times to bring it up, which we'll get into. But let's show them what it looks like a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see.
I don't trust myself with the clicker, guys.
I got you. Clayton McQuote, is that you?
That is me. So I have a contact information on a buddy's portal that I use here, and I've just dubbed it Clayton McQuote because that's where I will go to run quotes.
Sure.
And I go through there. Since I'm not an agent, I don't have a Medicare Center account, but I can get on there and I'll run quotes as Clayton McQuote.
Yes, of course.
So Clayton McQuote needed to get an SOA signed. So I went ahead and sent it on behalf of the agent to Clayton McQuote, which is me. So this will show you exactly what a client will get as far as the email here on the left side. It's a very simple, short and sweet, blank. So agent name would be inserted there. Has sent you a scope appointment. Please fill out and sign. Click that link and it'll take you back to that slide or that screenshot we sent of this is what that scope looks like, where Part C, Part D, sup, ancillary products, cancer. And then this other side here is a text message that a client would receive. So my phone system, this is just how texts look, but it will be the exact same link that takes you to that exact same scope. It just texts it to the client so they can get on their phone, fill out, check those boxes, sign it, send it back to you, and then it is safe, secure, on Medicare Center, stored for you. Yeah. And that's a really important part, that Medicare Center will store those scope of appointments for you, so you don't have to worry about having a paper copy somewhere, whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
So these are very easy to get into, to fill out that scope of appointment. Just wanted to quickly show you what a client sees when you send one of these.
Yeah, absolutely. So super easy. You can have them e-sign it. I think you can on that email and text message, So super easy. That's another thing, like we said on the last slide, on top of having it ancillary approved as well. It's just super easy to use Medicare Center, especially if that's what you're writing a lot of your stuff on. It stores it for you, and it's the same scope of appointment for no matter what product you write, which is nice and convenient.
And again, I'm just going to say this again. If you guys have not checked out Medicare Center, hop on the SMS team page. If you scroll down a bunch, you'll see our care initiative here, and then a couple other boxes. I forget the order, but on the far right, you'll see Medicare Center, where you can get in to log in, look at different trainings, stuff like that.
Mary, we have a question here about products. Hang around till the end. We'll talk about specific products at the very end, just answer that question for you. But Clayton, let's talk about talking about in cancer insurance in an appointment. We know that sometimes everybody kind of has their own process for how to bring up those ancillary products in follow-ups. Oh, I'm sorry, either in follow-ups or in the initial appointment.
Right.
Sometimes people get a little touchy about it. They're a little bit afraid. By people, I mean agents, because they're afraid that they're going to come off too salesy, right? People know whenever they come to their office, they're going to leave with a Medicare supplement and a PDP plan, or they're going to leave with an MAPD plan. They feel, sometimes agents feel like cross-selling during appointments gets to be a little bit too salesy or something like that. And so, of course, on our side, we know it's not just about making that extra dough. It's making sure that we're filling in the gaps in coverage where we know that they need that they probably don't know. So let's kind of dive into how we can do that, or what that looks like in kind of a smooth informational way.
Yeah. So the scope appointment is honestly going to be one of your best friends during a Medicare Advantage appointment to cross-sell, because that client has told you by checking that box, whether they know it or not, they've checked a box that says, I want to talk about these things. A lot of times I hear agents say, well, they probably just checked everything. Be like, well, good. Let's talk about all the options that they have available for them.
And also, that being said, that is one reason why the 48-hour rule, this is kind of a caveat, but that's kind of one reason why the 48-hour rule kind of came into effect here. So that way people have a buffering time in order to really think about what they just signed up to talk about. So the scope of appointment is actually a really solid selling tool. That's what we always say. It's literally them signing a paper, them looking at it and saying, hey, I'm giving you permission to talk about these things that CMS is saying we should talk about.
For sure.
So it's actually not as much of a roadblock as sometimes it can feel, but a really awesome selling tool if you use it to your advantage.
All we're ever looking for in sales is an opportunity to talk to a client, or an opportunity to talk to somebody about these products. And they've opened the door and say, hey, I want to discuss Part C, Part D, supplement, and ancillary products if they sign this Medicare Center appointment, or scope of appointment. So it's a great tool that lets you talk about it because they want to. So a couple of different ways that a lot of people are using the scope of appointments to sell is, just as most things that we talk about here, cross-selling is going to happen a lot of times in the fact-finding process. So you're going through asking your typical questions where you're kind of filling out what they might need or which path we're going to go down, because we're not 1,000% sure they're going to go MA or Med Sup. Let's figure it out. But this opens up that opportunity to learn a little bit about their family history, learn a little bit about themselves or any kind of previous diagnosis. So a lot of times people ask, do you have any family members with a cancer diagnosis? And just kind of go through that, let them tell their story if they do, because most people will end up having some kind of story to tell on a cancer diagnosis.
Right.
But you're going through your questions. It's not like they're all cancer related. So you can ask them like, hey, did you have dental with your previous coverage? Okay, great. Did you, does your family have any history of diabetes? You're just kind of going through learning about that client. And that's not necessarily when you're making the sale, but you're making your notes, you're putting stuff down. So you kind of hear those triggers and say, okay, cool, I need to make sure I bring this up when we get to the certain part of the appointment. Now, with Medicare Advantage, my personal favorite way is going to be through the summary of benefits, because a lot of times the pushback I get when I'm talking to agents about cancer insurance is, well, I don't want to be too salesy, or I don't want to lose my core sale because I'm offering too much insurance to them. And for that, all I want to say is I think you're overthinking how much that's going to impact the sale. If a client wasn't going to give you that core sale and then you offered them more insurance and they backed out, they were probably going to back out anyway.
Or I would say you're not setting the right expectations in the first place. If someone walks into your office and they're surprised that you were able to offer them other products other than just those core products, one, I wonder how your business is doing profit-wise, because those just keeping your lights on is what Medicare supplements, PDPs, Medicare Advantage plans are. Adding those extra things is really where a lot of growth financially can happen in your business. But if you're setting the expectations up at the very beginning of the appointment, letting them know that, hey, I'm here to help cover all of your healthcare needs. I'm here to make sure that you are covered in all of your healthcare insurance different products. So that way they know from the very beginning that you are there to give them a benefit package, a custom benefit package, and not just a Medicare supplement, PDP, or a Medicare Advantage plan. Right. So you have to let them know at the very beginning that you're here to help them out with everything, not just those core products.
For sure. And end of the day, you're an insurance salesperson. They expect you to sell insurance to them.
Right.
So keep that in mind, that most people I've talked to haven't lost as many core products
we're more worried about that than I think the clients probably are. Yeah.
So the summary of benefits is, okay, we've decided we're going to go with this MA plan. So you've got your core product locked down. You're just kind of going through the details of the plan with them like you're supposed to do, going through. Now, in the past, I've talked about hospital indemnity, so there's plenty of videos out there about where to use the summary of benefits for hospital indemnity, which is going to be a very similar path to using it for cancer insurance. So on the summary of benefits, when you're going through, eventually you'll get back down to a part that talks about chemotherapy. And as we all know, chemotherapy, even with insurance, is very expensive. Yeah. So one of my favorite lines that I've heard, and I can't tell you who told me this because I don't remember, but
I'll take credit.
Sadie probably told me this
probably
at one point. Going through that, and you'll see a typical amount is a 20% co-insurance that the client's responsible for. The MA product will pick up the other 80. So when you're getting to that point, you can say, okay, so with chemotherapy, you're looking at a 20% co-insurance. Now, most of the time, we'll not bat an eye at that and say, okay, seems fair. But you have to let the client know, but that 20% is one of the fastest ways we're going to hit that maximum out of pocket that we talked about at the beginning. So that could be a good time to flip back to remind them of, oh, that max out of pocket is $5 grand, $3 grand, $8 grand, whatever it might be.
Right.
But just remind them of the chemotherapy is one of the fastest ways to hit that max out of pocket. Because not only do you know it's going to be chemotherapy that's going to be so expensive, but all of the other costs and doctor visits that's going to go along with that. Mm-hmm. So by highlighting on that summary of benefits, this section here will hit that max out of pocket the most. But I do have a product that can help take care of that for you. So don't let me forget, or remind me to talk with about this.
Right.
Now, in your head, once this becomes muscle memory, there probably won't be that reminder needed.
Yeah.
But this is a great opportunity for the client to feel involved in the process, to say, hey, we talked about that, because that obviously is pointing out as like a buying sign that the client's worried about that 20% you talked to them about. And that's not to scare them into buying a cancer insurance policy, but it's just highlighting gaps in coverage. Right. Just like when you're going to a hospital indemnity and seeing you pay X amount of dollars per day if you have to go to the hospital to day 6. After that, the MA plan takes care of it. I've got a product that can help us out with those copays. Let's make sure we circle back. Mm-hmm. It's the exact same process. It's just with cancer, we're dealing with a lot higher dollar amounts of the financial devastation that could go along with it.
Right.
So every bit as important, if not more so important. It just depends on your client base. But we're just wanting to highlight all the different opportunities to bring this up. And the chemotherapy part is one of my favorites because it's just so expensive, guys. Yeah. But let's say that client asks you about it right then and says, okay, well, actually, go ahead and tell me about it. You can pause, go through it, just kind of know where you're at, obviously, and go back to the summary benefits. Mm-hmm. But they might ask you right then to tell you a little bit about those cancer plans. And it can be as simple or as complex as you want. that this shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes to explain in your appointment. So it's a very quick thing. But you can say, well, I have a product that if you got a cancer diagnosis, we pick a dollar amount that would pay out a lump sum if you ever were to get that diagnosis. That's it.
Yeah, that's literally all it is. I think that sometimes people feel a little bit of pressure, and again, by people, I mean agents. I know that sometimes we can feel pressure to, if we're offering something, to get them to say yes, or to offer them something and make sure that they fully understand, like, this is the risk. But really, at the end of the day, our only obligation, our only responsibility as an advisor for health insurance is to educate them on what we think that they might need with our educated sort of, mapping out and everything of their health benefits. Our job is making sure that they are educated on it. It's their job to say yes or no.
Right.
So there's a big difference if there's a story that Olivia used to talk about whenever we would do cancer webinars. Sorry, I'm kind of going off on a little thing, but she talked about an agent that works in the industry now. He sold his agency many, many years ago, but Dan Mangus, he is a VP here at Senior Marketing Specialist, but a long time ago, he sold an agency, and he would tell the story about how he had taken care of this lady and her family, and they were, excellent client, loved them, everything. She comes back into the office one day and she says, I thought that you said you would always take care of me. And he said, well, yeah, like, of course I would. She goes, well, do you offer cancer plans? And he said, oh, yeah. And then starts to get out the information. She says, well, it's too late. I have already been diagnosed with cancer. I kind of wish that you would have told me beforehand, and
that this is available.
Yeah, exactly. I found out that these are available like after I got diagnosed. And he said, I think that was early on in his career, and he said that was the first and last time he ever made that mistake. So that's a bit more of an extreme example, but it goes to show your job at the end of the day is make sure that they know there's that availability. It's not to get them to say yes. A no means, okay, I know, and I'm choosing not to, which is totally okay.
Yeah, but that's a really good point of, not only is it like, that hurts my heart every time I hear that.
Yeah.
And I've heard multiple of these stories and I hate it every single time.
Yeah.
Especially as somebody who had cancer and turned down a plan. I couldn't be mad at anybody in the insurance world but myself.
Sure.
Except maybe some other people, just because. I was angry. It was irrational.
Yeah.
But no, like, I turned down a plan. I knew it was a thing and I said, no, thanks, I'm okay. And doing it during the summary of benefits is you're highlighting every little gap that they could possibly worry about or go over all their coverage, so they fully understand what they're signing up for. Now, you can obviously get into more details with the client. I say 5 to 10 minutes, and then I give you a 10-second spiel on diagnosis, benefit amount.
Yeah.
So obviously there's some more that you can talk to them about. They probably have some questions and costs and all that stuff. But wanted to let you know just like how easy it is if they ask you right then and there, give them a little bit, and then you could circle back. Which brings me to this next point of the follow-up appointment. So highlighting it in the summary benefits, I recommend do 10 out of 10 times. Don't miss it. Tell them that you have a product that could help take care of that. Do the same with hospital indemnity. That's anything that they checked on there. So we're going with Medicare Center. They checked ancillary. Highlight hospital indemnity and show them that you got that. Highlight cancer and tell them you got that. They might not ask you about it, but as part of your process that you've talked about these things. So let's say we're wrapping up AEP, don't have many appointments this last week. It's just about making sure everyone you signed up at the first half is still on your books, because we know last half wins. We want them there in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to want to make sure that if you've got that time, you can call your clients, make sure everything's good, didn't get anything else signed up. That call is not going to need a scope appointment, because it's not an appointment. You're just calling to check in on your client, kind of service-based. And then you can talk to them about, like, hey, I know we mentioned a couple products that could help fill some of those gaps and add you a little extra protection to that Medicare Advantage plan we signed you up for. You can either say, do you have some time today to discuss that? Or what I would love to do is set an appointment with you at the beginning of Q1, make sure you're getting your cards, make sure your primary care doctor's all set up, or insert in their favorite part of the MA plan. So was it a dental benefit that they loved? Was it a gym membership that they loved? what made them pick that plan specifically, and tell them, I want to help make sure you get that set up in the first quarter. So let's set a time to talk a little bit about these other products and help make sure you're getting set up. Clients love that extra touch. I've highlighted this video you've done a couple times, so I'm sorry, I'm going to brag on you again because I can't stop. Being better than Google. Google will tell them, here's a good plan, here fits what you need, sign up for it. But an agent can go that step further and say, I want to make sure that you're getting help using that. I want to make sure you're getting the most out of this. And if there's anything left behind, that we're talking about those risks.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's
For
great, great customer service. That's going to make you your clients so loyal to you, and it's going to set you apart from the pack, because
exactly,
call center's not doing that. A random link on Google that they found to get signed up for a plan is not going to be doing that.
Right.
You're an advisor and you're doing a great job.
Exactly. I think that's the thing. I think that's what I love that word advisor, because we all call ourselves advisor, but really what's going to set you apart from being an agent and being an advisor is being an order taker is what you do whenever you're an agent, and then being an advisor is what you do whenever you make sure that you're following up on that, you're setting those custom benefit packages for them, you're doing all the extra things that they didn't ask you to do, that you aren't getting paid to do. That's what makes you an advisor.
Right.
So yeah.
So other strategy on the follow-up side of things is, let's say you have a chunk of clients that you miss talking about these things with, or if they're old clients who aren't going to need an appointment this AEP because they're still on a great plan. This gives you another chance to reach out and say, hey, you know, your plan's looking really good this year. I have added some products recently, even if they're not super new to you. You can say, hey, I've refocused my energy and wanted to make sure I'm covering all these different gaps. I would love to set a time to talk at the beginning of January, because we don't need to meet this AEP. You're all set. This will help you set up those appointments. Or if you've gone through your process and said, Clayton, you know, I really wanted to talk about these cancer plans and hospital indemnity plans during AEP. I just didn't have the time I thought I would. And you were going through appointments and getting people taken care of.
Right.
Don't fret. It's all okay. Because you can call those same people up in January, because like we talked about a little bit earlier, these products don't need a scope of appointment. It's just Medicare Center allows us to talk about it once we've crossed the SOA bridge.
Correct.
So keep that in mind, of a great chance to follow up with them in Q1 and say, hey, everything good? And then talk about these extra products that can go through. And as we know, in Q1, we as agents know that we have OEP to make any changes that we need to make, just can't advertise it. And you want to protect your book during OEP. So this is another great way to do a little self-protection of your book of business. Calling in, making sure everything with that core product is good. And then let's talk about a few of the gaps that are left behind.
Absolutely.
That we might not have addressed, or we talked about and wanted to, whatever the case might be. It just is another touch point for a client. And you're going to be mad at me for not remembering, it's 7 touch points a year we recommend?
At minimum. Yes,
minimum.
seven is the correct number. That's kind of the classic number of retention. You want at least 7 touch points a year, whether that be newsletters, that be cards, that be a phone call, that be appointments, whatever it may be. We want
So start off January, start off Q1 with that follow-up call.
Absolutely.
Check, there's one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be a really impactful call that's going to separate you from the pack, and offer them cancer insurance. Offer them these products that you know could take care of them. And one of my favorite things is, in sales, we're all worried about numbers, closing ratios, all these different things. And I have a history as a former baseball player, a washed up baseball player from way back in the day, that I got the mindset of 1 out of 3 puts you in the Hall of Fame. So think about that the same way with a cancer insurance product, that 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, that's going to make you an all-star. That's going to make you a Hall of Famer. And really all it is just taking care of more people.
Yeah.
And feeling good that you've done everything you can to take care of them. So if they ever get those terrible words of that you have a cancer diagnosis, that they have something, they'll help take care of them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I get way too passionate about those things. I love it so much. Please just offer it to your clients.
Yeah.
This is, I don't ever like plead, but I'm just please talk about it.
Yep.
It's so important. it's so impactful and could really make a life-changing difference on somebody if they had this product. And I think I see the value in all the ancillary products that are out there. It's just my heart is in it with cancer insurance. Everyone here believes in it just as much. And I just want everyone to understand that not having that $5,000 or not having that $10,000, whatever the benefit amount you pick, could be just hugely impactful to not only their treatment plan, but it could be impactful to just what they decide to do.
Yeah.
We want to take the financial decision out. This is our way to do that and make sure that they're getting the best care that they can.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we have lots of information, lots of webinars, everything on cancer insurance. So if you want an even deeper dive of what we did, believe it or not, today, this wasn't even a deep dive into what we could talk about with cancer insurance. But to speak to that, at Senior Marketing Specialists, we are so passionate about cancer insurance that we have created something called the CARE program. And by we, I mean, honestly, Clayton Clemens right here, he is the heart and soul behind this because of his passion for cancer insurance. And so why don't you explain to people a little bit what this new initiative, what this new CARE program is?
So our CARE initiative is purely focused on making a cancer insurance sale as easy as possible for you, providing you all the resources, all the education and details. So CARE stands for, you'll see these boxes here, cancer insurance, awareness, resources, and education. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, like all products, you're probably giving me this level of different things, right? And we are. This is just very packaged and specific. Mm-hmm. This gets into a lot of the nitty gritty that you might not need at that moment, but we want to make sure you have a place to go so you feel comfortable offering these products, because a new product line a lot of times is, well, I don't fully understand it yet. I want to get more details before I offer it. And I just want you guys to talk about it. If you have questions, the CARE page is going to be a great place to go for those resources. And we have a team of people that are ready to go and talk to you about these things specifically. I personally would love to field any and all of those calls I possibly can. So please ask for me. I'd be happy to help you out specifically. But this is what our homepage looks like here. You'll see these different boxes that stand for each letter. So the cancer insurance box here will take you to more of the product details. So when you click on that box, you might be a little bit more familiar with the layout, like with the AEP toolkit. Well, you'll see some of our recommended products of which products should I be offering, and you can click on that and get more details. We've put everything from different bullet points of hot topics that you need to know about it, claims, where to order forms, everything that you'll possibly need about that product is going to be housed there. Which I want to circle back to. Okay, need your name and number. I've got you. I'll circle back. I love that. So earlier we had a question about which carriers do we typically see written on there, and the kind of 5 that we recommend, and I'll say the 5, but I also want to say there's a lot of great products out there, and I don't care which one you're offering. I want you to offer.
Just offer it.
Just offer it. But here's kind of where I'm not going to rank them, but I'm going to list off a few here because they're all very similar. But Bankers Fidelity, Aetna, GTL, Cigna, and Mutual of Omaha is kind of like our go-to 5. There's different reasons that go through each one. I won't dive into that today. Sadie and I did a product showcase that really dives into that. It's housed on this CARE initiative website, and each carrier, like you click that logo I talked about to get into more info on, let's say, Bankers. There'll be a video about Bankers or a section from that webinar. Bankers Fidelity was the first one, Aetna, GTL, Mutual, and Cigna.
And all of these are hosted on that website, which you can find at smsteam.net.
And I'm positive that's going to be in that resource email we send out.
Yeah.
But then you might say, okay, that's generic stuff, Clayton. FMOs provide me these details on products they want me to sell all the time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite and most passionate parts of this is the awareness side of things. So the A is awareness. We take good pride here in our office. We try to do a lot of stuff for charity, and this is specifically, we show some pictures of our office, agents out in the world, showing that they're supporting cancer research and awareness. So we'll highlight some events that are going on. Right now, they're mostly local in Missouri, but if you're looking for events to get out in your community, I'd be happy to help you find some. I've got a lot of different people here that have done that before that helped me kind of find some more details. But if you scroll down a little bit further on that awareness page, you'll find some foundations that are out there. So let's say you're going through that scope of appointment, or not scope of appointment, but that sale, just whatever the product might be. And they tell you that they either have a loved one who's currently going through a diagnosis, or you might not have known, and they tell you that they actually are currently going through treatment. This foundations that are out there to provide financial assistance to those people who have already had that diagnosis. So my favorite, I always tip my cap to Cancer Care. I tip my cat to it. I don't know why I do that, but I would. It's like, meow. Because Cancer Care, they gave me a check when I was going through my diagnosis. So I always want to shout them out. But there's a lot of foundations that are specific to certain cancers. They're nationwide or they're regional. And they could be everything from financial assistance to different services that are offered. So definitely check that out. Again, questions, if you know somebody going through it, please let me help you. And then the resources and education. I won't dive into these as much, but resources, that's going to be kind of your leave behind pieces, your different things that you're looking to market these plans. It's going to be a lot more agent to client pieces. And then the education is going to be much more focused on getting you educated on these products. And I think the best way would be going back to those product pages and finding each thing. We do have some different education pieces on there as well.
Absolutely.
So I believe we've got contact information on the next slide, because I definitely want you to go tip my cat. Yes, I think you should all tip our cats and sell more cancer insurance.
They deserve tips too.
They do.
They're out here. They're
meowing up a storm. So please give us a call. This is our 800 number. This will get you to the front desk people who are amazing, or somebody on our team. And if you're wanting to talk cancer insurance, please feel free. My name's Clayton Clemens. You can say, hey, I want to talk cancer insurance. They probably know who to send you to, but there's a lot of people in our office that are just as passionate to talk about it. It's just, I will drop whatever I can to help you guys out with these kind of things.
Absolutely. I will say, as someone who is like care initiative team adjacent, someone who like I get to see a lot involved in it, but I can say this because I'm not on the care initiative team, but this care initiative team, this whole cancer push that senior marketing specialist has had is truly unlike anything I've really seen in the industry as far as something like this. I don't know of anybody else in our industry that is doing something similar to this. And then on top of that, the big thing about Care Initiative is not about increasing numbers. It's not about, you guys know we get paid when you get paid. At the end of the day, that's not what it's about for us. This is truly a passion project that was started by Clayton here. He's been through it. People on our team have been through it. Lots of cancer stories here in our office. So truly, like I said, it's a passion project. And at the end of the day, this Care Initiative is all about making sure that you are aware of how you can help people out in one of the worst times of their life and one of the most financial devastating times in their life. So if you take anything away from this today, one is if you are not interested in selling cancer insurance after this, truly, what else can we do?
Give me a call.
But yeah, give us a call. That's our last resort. And then two, we want to be here for you, whether that be you're starting to write more cancer, you're thinking about selling more cancer, you've sold it in the past and you want to start writing it again. Or if you are interested in resources that don't make you a dime, but you are able to give out to your clients as well. Again, just to help them from that advisor sort of position. Guys, so we are at the very end. Please feel free to ask us questions. We'll be here for a few more minutes. Like he said, that's our number, 800-689-2800. Please give us a call. We love to talk about this. If you can't tell, I don't know if that's obvious, but we absolutely love to talk about this with you guys. smsteam.net. That is our website. If you go to our website and scroll down just on the homepage, you will see a big banner there for Care Initiative. Click on that. It takes you to the page that we just showed, as well as a little banner at the very bottom too that takes you to the same place. Please, please, please check out that page. Also, please feel free to live chat us, whatever it takes for you guys to chit chat with us about this.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agent dots, or is it agent dot support? It's agent support. It's just agent support at smsteam.net is a good email to reach me and the team on Agent Resources who can help discuss these things. Also on that Care Initiative page, you'll see something, I forget, I think it's on the homepage there. There's a couple opportunities to click and it'll put together some, I want to talk about this, and it'll send me an email and I can get it scheduled with you from there. So
yeah,
check out the Care Initiative page, send Medicare Center scope of appointments, start doing it now. They're good for 12 months. So any scope of appointment you send out now will be good for this AEP, good for one appointment. And if you send them out now, you know you've got 48 hours in between now and the time of their appointment. So.
Exactly. Yeah, get those scopes sent out now. Let's see. I'll read this one for you, Clayton. Great stuff, guys. Appreciate your passion and what you do for us. This dude right here, yes, absolutely, heart and soul into this program, for sure. Yes, we tip our cat to you, Aaron. Thank you. Let's see. Some of them only pay for a one-time event. So cancer, yes, you're exactly right, Mary. Like we said, I mean, cancer insurance, selling that, adding those, it's not necessarily a get rich quick sort of scheme or anything like that, but it is a good retention tool because you are helping set them up for possible financial devastation in a really tough time. So
yeah. And I think what she was alluding to was one cancer diagnosis. Is I got you. It's okay. Is one diagnosis that they'll pay out.
I'm gonna cut that from the recording.
Cut that. So that one diagnosis they'll pay out. Yes. Now, if you start going through there, a lot of these carriers have what's called a reoccurrence or second occurrence, and it's a rider that you can add on, most of the time very affordable, where that benefit amount will start to build back up. So I wanted to make sure that you knew about that because some of these older plans that people might have had or sold in the past paid out one time or only paid out for like X amount of dollars for chemo, X amount of dollars for radiation. Most plans nowadays are a full lump sum and they just want to pay you out based off of that diagnosis. It's a lot easier for them to actuarial price out. They get the math nerds over there calculating how much they should charge for these things. And if they know you sign up for this many dollars and you're this age, this is our risk, and they can price them accordingly. So a lot of the plans now are a lot more competitive than some older ones because of the new structure of them. Check out the riders. Off the top of my head, Bankers, Aetna, the older GTL, Cancer, Heart Attack, and Stroke plan, and Cigna all offer a reoccurrence option. GTL has a newer plans, Precision Care, that doesn't. They got some other cool bells and whistles, so check that out. Kind of tease that for you. And then Mutual of Omaha doesn't. Their plan is a lot more simplistic, and they have a different coverages. But by doing that, they are able to drop those premiums to a very affordable rate, which is why I love them as well.
Absolutely. And even on like the back end, sometimes those more, sometimes if you're writing a lot of Mutual of Omaha, like Medicare supplements or something, it's easy to tag that on there as well. So there's a lot of give and take. That's why give us a call so that way we can talk to you about what plan also might work best for you, because there's a lot of different things that sort of play into that.
What do you want? What do your clients want? How can I help you integrate this to your business?
Yeah, what's the easiest way for you to start doing this, honestly?
Yep, we got lots of options out there.
Yes. Thank you, Clayton, for handling that. She says, do they just cancel the plan after their one-time event? And yes, diagnosis I was talking about.
Yes. So if they don't have that option, the plan ends when they put that claim form in. All on that cancer insurance page at the bottom, we have a lot of information about how to file the claim. Most of them are very simple, but I know that's also a worry of, okay, what happens when someone needs to use this? What do I do? We've spelled it out for you. We got you the forms, everything that you need. And we go line by line and talk about what's going to happen with that.
Absolutely. Alrighty, and let's see, how soon will this video be available online? Eugene, we will have this on our YouTube page within the next hour or so, and you will be receiving your follow-up email with the link to this, and then a link to our care page and other additional resources as well within the day. So yeah, be looking out for that. Well, good sir. Looks like we don't have any more questions here. Is there anything else you want to say before we get the people out of here?
No, my main thing is start sending your scope of appointments now through Medicare Center. Get familiar with Medicare Center now. We can also help you out with that. And then also make sure you're checking out the Care Initiative web page. It's on the SMS team website like we talked about. Scroll down a bit, check that out.
Absolutely, and will be linked in our follow-up email.
Linky.
So look out for that. Awesome, you guys. Well, thank you so much for the great questions here today. Thank you for letting us get up here and chit chat with you guys today. Hopefully you learned a lot. Hopefully you had a little bit of fun. We did. So yes, please check out this recording if you had to jump off. I saw some of you guys had to jump off, but make sure to check it out, and we will see you guys on the next webinar.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thanks.